How's it going, everyone? It is Ari from EB here, and thanks to Ubisoft Australia, we've been flown down to Sydney to play a preview version of The Division 2.
Now, there is a lot of things in The Division 2 that they've changed since number 1, and let's get into those today.
Hi, I'm David Kennedy. I'm game director on Tom Clancy's The Division 2, working in the Ubisoft Annecy studio. In Annecy, we've been working on the living world system, the activities that happen in the open world, the base of operations and the settlements, the wildlife, several of the main missions, as well as the raids that are coming in Endgame.
So starting off, this is set in Washington, D.C., 7 months after New York. Now, an insufficiently tested chemical was used in Washington called DC-62, although it was found that this was also just as lethal as the original virus. However, this is actually a 1-to-1 scale of DC, meaning that all of the buildings and landmarks that you're seeing around the map are actually there in real life, and I was told that if you lived in DC, you would actually know your way around this game, and I think that is really cool.
In our fully realized version of Washington, D.C., we have enemy factions that are roaming, looking for resources, patrolling, trying to expand their areas of influence, as well as we have civilians that are doing the same. They're trying to eke out a living. So you'll see these two forces colliding in the living world. Civilians are looking for water, for food, for materials, and they'll run into a faction like the Hyenas. They'll end up fighting each other in the streets, and the player has the opportunity to jump in and help out the civilians, help out the people of Washington, D.C. The base of operations is your logistical hub. It's where the action happens, but the settlements are sort of the heart of the mission, where you're there to protect the people of Washington, D.C. and to help them. So you'll see those subtle things start to come back. They start to farm a little more. They start to play music. The kids are out playing more. So you really see an impact of your actions in the world.
So in The Division 2, they've introduced 2 new dark zones. So that's a total of 3 dark zones with 12 players per zone. Now inside of these zones, you can actually find loot and normal weapons that you can take out with you, although if you find any toxic weapons, you will need to get those evac'd. And that's where you kind of get a target on your head.
So in The Division 2, we have 3 dark zones. Each one has its own theme, kind of its own ambience to it. And you have a lot of new activities that you can do in addition to what we've introduced in the first game, the Rogue 2.0. We have an updated version of that, Rogue 3.0.
Now let's talk about the end game of The Division 2. So as I said before about specializations, after you finish the game, you get to choose between 3 different specializations which offer different weapons, abilities, and skills, for example. So the 3 on launch are Survivalist, Sharpshooter, and Demolitionist. For example, the Survivalist comes with a crossbow, the Sharpshooter with a sniper rifle, and the Demolitionist with a grenade launcher. You will need these weapons going back out into the world in the endgame because there's actually a lot of changes that happen. Firstly, there is a new faction being introduced, and now this faction moves in and changes up the game after you've finished. So they're a high-level faction with completely new tech, gadgets, and weapons that you're going to have to face in a completely new way than what you have been throughout The Division 2 so far. Now, along with that, there are 8-person raids, which are designed to be pretty difficult, thus kept for the end game content, so it's best to get the equipment down pat before jumping into those ones. So along with Ubisoft's commitment to The Division 2's post-launch content, all DLC and post-launch content is actually completely free for 1 year after launch, which I think is pretty awesome. The main thing that I got out of playing The Division 2 was that the game felt a lot more smooth and solid, and I really enjoyed that in the middle of all of these hectic battles, I didn't have to be thinking about really what button to be pressing or that it's not quite working the way I want, everything just worked. And on top of that, there is so many things to work towards in the end game. So as you're progressing through the game, getting that better and better equipment, you're actually working towards being able to completely wreck in endgame, and I love that. But yeah, make sure to comment down below why you want to be playing The Division 2 and who you're going to be playing with. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Ari, this is EB Games, and I'll see you next time.